In case you missed it, Melly got his revenge for the prosecutors wanting Bortlen to snitch against him. The news wrote, "A no communication order has been filed in the Melly trial. The order makes Melly and Bortlen completely separate. No talking, no lawyer talk, just silence." As the prosecutors are forcing Bortlen to snitch by trying Melly and him together next trial.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking the penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
If Bortlen knows he didn't commit this serious crime, he won't physically be able to sit there and take life in prison to the chin, making it likely he will point the finger against Melly just like Melly did against Bortlen in the first trial.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, a car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
Showing it's always Bortlen who lied to the feds about the incident and how he was the one last seen with Juvy and Sakchaser. They even had an investigator bring up the firearm powder that was found on Bortlen's hands.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of hot residue and two component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of hot residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was hot residue present on the hands.
Bortlen hated this, so when Melly got a mistrial, he tweeted, "Mind games don't work on people like me," alongside a handshake emoji, as if he's accepting some sort of deal. But it gets worse when you see the interrogation of Bortlen on the night of the crime, where he's lying to police to cover up for Melly.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, but almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car,
Hey, well, Ashley,
and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75.
Expressway.
Then you took 75 south?
It's clear to the officers that his story isn't adding up, but Bortlen tried to stay confident in his story. However, he would end up getting caught in a lie.
Here's the hard part, where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as 1 shell casing. They didn't find 1 piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your 2 friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my like,
These are your 2, I'm assuming, close friends.
Yeah, we got.
And you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I don't like. How? What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
As the interrogation went bad for Bortlen from here, because the officer didn't believe his story and he begins shutting down the conversation.
I told y'all the story and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it anymore. Like, cause I told y'all. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Okay, just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. and we're not trying to piss you off, is the thing is we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.
Typically, this is when the officer tries to reset the conversation and begin asking about other details of the night. When the officer begins asking about what happened during the drive-by.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about some shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here from when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
But with time limited in their interrogation, the officer flat out asked if Bortlen knew who did the crime. Would he tell the officer?
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS. Okay, and it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay, you may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be.
Bortlen doesn't give a solid answer. Instead, he shakes his head because he was worried if he lied that his voice could have changed pitch under the pressure. As interrogators' entire job is to read the body language of the person they're talking to, and is obvious to them if someone is lying. But with Bortlen shaking his head no instead of answering the question, it was an obvious indicator that Bortlen's hiding something. But in latest news of the Melly case, it was announced on May 12th, a judge ruled that the Florida rapper must stay behind bars until the retrial begins in September. He's been incarcerated for 6 years fighting the case in which he's accused of the murder of Juvy and Sakchaser. They were convinced he was getting released after getting one of his 6 charges except for bond.
We just still praying. I know I said I would I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically the judge is going to do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it could come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Oh, Tessa, stop. I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming, you know.
Melly gets bond on one of his 6 charges. He's been locked up for 2,300 days without a bond or guilty charge, despite a previous mistrial. As it finally looked good for Melly, he was able to acquire a bond on at least one of his charges. However, the prosecutors turned to his ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton and his best friend Bortlen. Because Mariah had been hiding out of the country since Melly's first trial, so with her finally back, they're able to use her as a witness in the case.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
In order to be set free, Mariah had to agree to testify during the Melly trial, which she accepted, which is terrible for Melly. Once she accepted the deal, she wrote on Facebook, "Thank you to my village. I love y'all so much. God's plan, not mine." But allegedly, the feds have a lot of evidence proving Melly witness tampered with Mariah to get her out of the country, and a witness tampering charge carries a life sentence behind bars, even if he's found innocent of taking out Sakchaser and Juvy.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Due to him witness tampering with the jail phones, Melly hasn't been allowed to use a phone for several months. Even his mother took an interview to speak about it, saying how it's not fair.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
But if it's true that Melly's used jail phones to tamper with witnesses, that's why he hasn't been allowed on them. But Melly's lawyers can appeal the decision of no bond, as they're looking to repackage their evidence to the judge. As the Post revealed, Melly's legal team proposed posting an unspecified bond that would be paid by his record label, 300 Entertainment. If granted bond, they assured the judge that Melly would be on house arrest, wear an ankle monitor, and hire round-the-clock security to keep tabs on him, as Melly's lawyer's main argument is his mother's testimony of how he's not being treated like a human inside jail.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
They even brought up GPS evidence from the night it happened, and texts with his ex-girlfriend about how Melly was saying there was people chasing after him.
That would be the part where he's saying that someone just shot the car up and was trying to shoot him. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some, yeah, he's like, yeah, there's some, I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Sak and Juvy? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're.
And all the more reason for Melly being innocent is that they never even found the firearm, which Melly's lawyers say the people who did the drive-by would have drove off with it.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay.